Now it's like, okay, let's start that again. Oh my God. So I'm just still figuring out this platform. So I'm gonna let y'all know something funny. I just was sitting here talking to myself for the last 5 minutes as I thought that I was live, and it's only my second time going live on this platform. So what I was saying is that kind of figuring out the groove here, because this is a new platform for me, and I'm enjoying it. But it's a new platform, so just kind of figuring out how it works best, how I would, what my lane is. And so with this particular weekly ask me anything sort of thing, eventually what I want to get into is just, answering questions every week about sales, business, marketing, life, whatever's going on. Um, but for now, while I'm kind of just trying to get a groove and kind of establish a cadence, I'm just going to talk about my previous week or weekend, some things that I've learned, some things that I think might be able to help you all. So last week, it was crazy. It was a banger. Oh, first of all, before we get into this, look at this. I got my chick cup. Back to it then. But if you don't know Chit, um, y'all gotta know Chit. Anyway, so let's talk about last week. So last week, super busy week for me. I started the week in Florida, where I was in Del Mar for my sister's 20th wedding anniversary. Then headed off to Anaheim, and where I was there for Talaris Partner Summit. For those of you that don't know who Talaris is, it's a technology service distributor. So it was a technology conference. A lot of people there. Got some lessons from there I want to share with y'all. And then from there, it was on to Vegas, where I was speaking at the National Sales Network's annual conference. And then a red eye home Friday night and into Saturday. And then I was passed out. Travel is hard. It's hard on your body. Um, and so I try to do a lot. I'm going to actually share my routine on LinkedIn. So make sure y'all check this LinkedIn post that's going to drop here within the hour, where I'm going to share that experience, just the Vegas part of it, let alone forget everything else that came before that, which everything else before that was 5 hours of, no, 6 hours of flight, um, 22 hours of driving, lot of travel. Anyway, on to the Talaris Partners Summit. I want to share something with you guys. So when I show up at these technology events like the Talaris Partner Summit that I attended last week, um, it's a lot. And what I mean by that is, I get a lot of attention. I get a lot of, there's a lot of handshaking. There's a lot of picture taking. There's a lot of, it's hard for me, for those of you that may have, see me at one of these things. It's hard for me to go, 50 feet without being stopped. So here's why I want to talk about that and share this with you guys, because it's not a flex so much as it is a lesson in business. So, in today's world, your digital footprint, what you're doing on platforms like this, and it's not necessarily just about making video and all that. Yes, I make video, but your presence on digital platforms, your digital footprint is your yellow pages, period. Back in the day, we had the yellow pages. And I've been using this kind of way of describing it lately because I think people can really connect with it, especially people that are millennials or older. Now, Gen Z, y'all don't have any idea what the hell yellow pages are. But back in the day, remember that yellow pages book? Like, you had to be in the yellow pages. Everyone was in the yellow pages. If you were not in the yellow pages, then you weren't a legitimate business. And the bigger your ad in the yellow pages, the more credible you were, like the more bigger deal that you were. So I like to compare that to the current environment for business, which is this digital platforms, all the social media, all of that. It's all part of your digital footprint. The bigger your digital footprint, it's just like the yellow pages back in the day. The more credibility your brand, your business has, the more likely people are to do business with you. That's kinda how you have to look at it. So when I show up to a conference like that, my yellow page is like full page ad from back in the day, right? Like, there are very few people that don't know who I am or don't know, or not have not heard of me. And that has a tremendous business impact. So the reason I share this with y'all is that so many people still in 2025 are reluctant to lean into their digital footprint. And I'm trying to tell you that you don't have a choice. Like, if you're uncomfortable, get comfortable. Now, let me give you some tips. Everyone doesn't have to do what I do. In fact, I would say to most of you shouldn't do what I do because it's not authentic or natural to you. But taking control of your digital footprint, um, taking control of your social media presence and all that is really about providing content, providing information that is beneficial to your target audience, that's beneficial to the community that you want to um, generate influence in. So when I was speaking last week in Vegas, one of the younger attendees came up to me and he works for a company that does something with AI. And he's asking me about, the about setting up, starting his journey in terms of building the brand and all this sort of thing and AI. And I had to make sure that he understood what success is. And I will share this with you all, what I shared with him. So a lot of times when we think about social media presences and all that and building brands, we think about it from the standpoint of like, from the vantage point of what we're used to in like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, those sorts of things, and which are creator platforms. But we're in business. So what I look for, yeah, I have presence in all those places because I believe I have to be wherever people are. But I understand that my objective and my goal is not like a creator who's monetizing their existence. No, where we monetize us in business is through thought leadership and influence. And so as I was educating him about this, I'm trying to tell him what the objectives are and how to start and trying to keep him focused on the fact that because he's a Gen Z guy saying, hey, listen, forget all the thousands of impressions and all that. Like it's literally about making impact with influential people, one person at a time. And guess what? Most of those people will never ever engage with your content live. They're just kind of lurking. And so I'm trying to kind of, help him on his journey and walk him through that. And it just kind of got me going down this whole rabbit hole too. Thinking about myself, thinking about the objectives and the goals and this work that we do on platforms like this, where it's about, again, thought leadership and influence. And then thinking about in this strange way, it kind of brought me back to the concept of wealth. And as I'm thinking about that, um, I was thinking about these folks that get into politics that are multimillionaires, billionaires, all that stuff. Why do they get into politics? If I'm worth a $1 billion, if I'm, you know, Bloomberg or something, I get why? Well, because influence is real wealth. Like it's it's more valuable than the money. So when I was thinking about that myself, I'm like, oh my God, you know what? That's just a different way to kind of look at it and understanding because for those of you that have been in business or whatever you've had been in your careers for quite some time, money comes and money goes, but that sort of social cred, that influence, oh, that will sustain you forever. So anyway, I guess I just bringing it back, tying a bow on it, I just want to kind of bring clarity around what the objective is. It's thought leadership, and in order to establish thought leadership, you have to have an authentic voice, which, by the way, your voice is authentic. No one has your specific experience. I don't care if you talk about the same thing that I'm talking about right now. As long as it comes from a place of true experience, you're going to be unique, and it'll be received differently by different people. So, like I was telling this young man, like, you have to come from a place of authenticity, meaning that again, you're not. This is something that you actually know something about, and just be you. That's kind of it. So anyway, last week again, that kind of all started from the Players Partner Summit where, I mean, such a great experience. And then I went to Vegas for National Sales Network conference where I spoke there twice. Some great lessons learned there too. For any of you that are speakers out there, let me tell you something, give you some advice too. If you are a speaker or you want to be a speaker, you prepare the same regardless of the audience. I don't care if there's 5 people or there's 500 people. You got to prepare the same. It's how I go about it. Because, and here's how I look at it and how I built this thought leadership, I built this credibility in my industry is because I look at it like this. If I go to a room and there's 2 people in there that I get to present to, when I leave that room, I'm gonna have 2 new fans. That's how I see it. And that's how you build real thought leadership. That's how you build real influence. It's really 1, 2 people at a time. Now, if I get the opportunity to get into an audience of, a couple hundred, well, fantastic. I'm going to crush it there too. Anyway, so last week as I'm going to speak at this conference, I had no idea what to expect. This is my first, I was reached out to about 4 or 5 months ago by the organizers and I'd never been to this conference and man, what a pleasant surprise, number one. But I'm speaking on Friday and the conference started on Wednesday. If you've been to a conference, you know that, and it's in Vegas on top of all that, you know that that is like chances of you having a good turnout ain't too good. And on top of that, my session was right after one of the top keynotes. So you had 2 people that were the headliners. And spoiler alert, wasn't me. Not yet, maybe next time. The headliners were Damon John and Van Jones from CNN. And so I was scheduled to speak right after Van Jones did his keynote. And Van ends late because, those guys always do. And then, they have their picture session. So it's bleeding over way into my presentation. So that kind of sucked. But prior to all that, again, I'm thinking it's Friday, it's Vegas, like people aren't going to show up, man. Like I'm going to be in there speaking to 1 or 2 people. So how did that change my preparation? How did it change my execution? Not one bit. I prepared my ass off. I was ready and I got in that room and I kicked ass. I crushed it. Both of my sessions crushed it. And to my surprise, the rooms were mostly full. Like, I mean, it says a lot about the organizers. It says a lot about the audience that these people are growth mindset people that came to learn and to grow. And it wasn't a room full of people that knew me in terms of, my brand and all that. In fact, there was probably only a handful of people that were followers of my content. And so that was just such a cool experience. But again, the lesson in this for all of y'all that may want to be speakers is you prepare the same, whether it's 10, 100, or 1,000. Because here's the thing. I guarantee you, of those people that attended, there's going to be business that comes out of it for me. There will be opportunities that come out of it for me. So what makes these things a success is one. I only need one person to be like, oh my God, he's great. He crushed it. I need to bring him in to coach. I need to bring him in to teach. I need to bring him in. So yeah, that's just kind of my mindset. I want to share that with y'all because I think as people, it's much like we're judged to 500 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever it is. And that's not what success is. And don't get me wrong. The bigger the audience, the more money I make. And that's great. I like that. But truth be told, that doesn't always work out that way because the bigger the audience, oftentimes they don't want to pay you because they want to say that, well, we have this big audience and people geek out over being in front of a bigger audience. So unless you are, a big headliner, they don't want to pay you the same or they want you to come free. So sometimes the smaller audiences are better and more impactful. So I'm trying to figure out my groove in this whole platform. I want to treat this weekly cadence as an AMA. So I'll start to promote it more and a little bit as we kind of hit the groove. So going into it, like I just would love if y'all just share any questions, you share any challenges that you're having out there, and just make this a really productive session, a productive way for me to kind of get some insight or for us to bounce things off of each other as a community. I might even come with some things weekly where I'm like, hey, listen, this is a challenge for me. You know what? I will do that right now. How about that? So I'm going to come with a challenge that I'm having. And if you have something and you want to share it in the comments or whatever, write a message in here. I'm still kind of figuring out this platform. Please do. There's something that you feel will bring benefit, or you have a question, or whatever. So here's my challenge. And before I tell you all this, I will be fully transparent in saying that, yeah, sometimes a doctor is doctors are the worst patients, and in this case, I'm kind of the worst patient. But I do kind of have an excuse, although I don't believe in excuses, but I kind of have an excuse. So, we have going into this year had a part of our business plan and business model was to continue to grow the online coursework that we're doing and uh, number one, be the number one sales author and instructor on LinkedIn's platform, on the LinkedIn Learning platform, and to secondarily grow Say Less Academy. But number one was LinkedIn Learning. Here's the reason for that. LinkedIn Learning has a built-in audience. It has distribution globally. And so, it allows me to focus mostly on what I'm good at, which is just creating great content, authoring the content, licensing it to them, and getting it out there to the world. So they have changed some of their, um, like big companies do, like mid-year, they change after right around fiscal year end, they changed their strategy. And so what that means is that I am not able to license as many courses to them as we had intended to at the beginning of the year. So now I have to shift gears and we're taking the content that we had created and licensed for LinkedIn Learning and now putting that on my private label platform, Say Less Academy. So my challenge is that I need to get more companies to license Say Less Academy because right now with LinkedIn Learning, the way that works is I license content to them and then they license to all the big guys, Google and Meta and so on and so forth. And so now I am trying to, because it's the same content, right? I create the content, my team shoots it, my team edits it, all that, and then we license to them. Now I'm taking that content that we had built and created for LinkedIn Learning and putting it on Say Less Academy. So now my gap and my challenge is I have to go directly to these companies to present our content. So that's what I'm challenged with right now. So figuring out the plan for that and most importantly, executing on it. So any ideas y'all have, any connections you have, any of that stuff, I welcome it. So again, this platform, as I'm growing it, as I'm kind of refining it, I really want this weekly cadence thing to be helpful and productive for all. So whether it's me sharing a challenge or me sharing or you guys sharing a challenge and having some questions and some things that I can answer, maybe you've taken some of the courses, which there's 15 courses, I think, on LinkedIn Learning. There's another dozen or so on Say Less Academy. I want this to be an opportunity for us. I encourage you to like Google me. I know it sounds cliche, but I don't hide anything, and I should be. So, speaking of that, shout out to like I had a little internet hiccup. Anyway, shout out to Ariane. She was visiting in Atlanta and hit me up, and so we had coffee, got to meet her family, it was fantastic. But that's just kind of the dude I am, so what you see here, what you see is what you get. Um, and, it's not something I take pride in, it's just the only way I know how to be. So, I don't and because of that, I guess maybe that limits my I'm not gonna bullshit. I'm not gonna, I'm not trying to create an image. I just share who I am and the things that I know and talk about those things. And if I don't know, I'm not gonna talk about them. That's it. Um, anyways, so thank you all for hanging out. Thank you for I really appreciate, anytime people will spend time to listen to me talk. But again, I want this to be not just something where I am speaking at people. I'm all about collaboration. I'm all about dialogue. I'm all about growth mindset. So let's grow. Do you please? I know some of y'all out there have shared the Substack with your networks and your communities. I would ask that you please do if you've got some value out of it. I'm trying to build a really great community over here. Been fortunate to build a great network on LinkedIn, but it's much harder to speak specifically to the community, and it's much more difficult to control the delivering of the message and how people get it, or if people get it, mostly if people get it. So that's why I wanted to lean into this platform to be a little bit more like unfiltered. And by unfiltered, let me qualify that. I don't filter myself on LinkedIn, but there are certain parameters that you have to play within in order to get distribution. Simple as that. So by unfiltered, I mean, like on there, I got to say things within 2.5 minutes more times than and that's just not enough for me. And I think it gives a lot of, superficial direction and advice, but doesn't go as deep as I'd like to go. And I'm a deep thinker. So a platform like this allows me to do that. So that's what I'm doing here. And if you dig what I do, please share. If you want to subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. And subscribe at the paid level. We're going to be doing some more custom things for that, custom education, some courses and things that are going to only be available to our paid subscribers. But I'm not just doing, stuff for this isn't just a monetization piece for me. Like, trust me, it isn't, because you need to do a whole lot to make monetization on it. But it's like, I just want to be able to talk intimately and deeply to those um, that want it the most, right? And that's why there are those different levels. So that's what it's about. So thank you for joining. Hope y'all have a fantastic day. Have a great rest of your week. If you are in New York, I will be in New York this week in Manhattan at Poly AI's headquarters. Well, I'll be doing some sales training. So if you are a partner of Poly AI or Nextiva and you're in New York, hit up your channel manager. Make sure that you're in the house. It's going to be a good time. All right. One last thing, LinkedIn, about to drop a post. Y'all want to see it. I'll give you some insight into mi vida loca, as I'm showing y'all what I do and what I did last week. In only a day and a half, a day and a half. So I'm missing a whole bunch of other stuff, but it's pretty interesting, and hope y'all enjoy it. Peace.